Hey there, fellows. Check out what we got here. A Mercedes G-Wagon and a couple of Lada engine blocks. You'll remember that we fitted a Paz Bus V8 into this rig, making it quite capable. Yeah, no doubt about it, V8 engines rock. And we have gotten plenty of requests to make a V8 out of two Lada engines. Here we have two engine blocks. We'd place them at an angle of 90 degrees relative to one another. We'd weld them together, and that should make for a nifty little V8 engine. Let's do this. Here we have a standard crankshaft for a Lada, which is obviously of no use to us. It is an inline-4 cylinder engine with a flat plane crank, but we're looking to make something where the journals are set 90 degrees apart, just like in a conventional V8. We'll have the blocks set at a 90-degree V angle, and so we'll have to connect two con rods to each crank journal. Also, there's the matter of lubrication. Here we have the channels through which the motor oil flows, and after thoroughly examining and considering everything, we decided that the best course of action would be to make a custom crankshaft from scratch. So this entire thing, with the exception of the connecting rods, this is our future crankshaft. This would be the webbing. Now the reason it's got so many holes is, well, it just does. We've made some new holes. These are going to be the journals, or the connecting rods. And we are going to be running them in pairs. They, of course, will be mounted via ball bearings, and these would be the main journals. The bearings are going to be extra wide. In the past, we have done a ball bearing crank, and we did run some wide bearings with that one. But you will notice that certain things are missing. For example, the pulley from the timing chain side, as well as the tail end, which is what the flywheel bolts onto. The thing is that the blocks will be shifted around, so we haven't gotten around to that stuff yet. Oh yeah, almost forgot to mention the width of the rods. So look, we had to grind them down, as they used to be really wide. We just weren't able to fit the two of them. And so we elongated the journals, we machined the rods. They're slightly narrower, but the good thing is you can now fit two rods to one journal. This is not a simple project. But let's commence the assembly process, shall we? Let's go. Now we need to carefully install all of this in the block and do some welding. Because the problem is, with this long of a piece, you can't heat them up to press them in, so we're just going to get them on, position them, and secure them using a welder. A very simple but tried and tested method. And so here's where we're at with this. Here we have various parts that we're going to use to piece together a V8 engine block. Here we have the sort of foundation. To it we'll be bolting on these two magnificent engine blocks. And they do need to be secured very tightly and reliably. And the only way to do that would be through the holes we used to bolt the caps on. Here, instead of caps, we'll be running a plate. That's going to be secured with the help of some bolts. The V angle here is 90 degrees. And there is a bit of an offset because, as you'll notice, the rods have been machined. They are going to be placed in pairs. They'll be mounted on the crank. Also, we are going to install a small ring to prevent them from coming into contact with each other. And the bed that we're going to be placing the crankshaft into looks something like this. It is a very sturdy sort of, cage. Here we have some thread, a cap. And once everything is in place, once we connect the blocks, secure the crankshaft, make some adjustments here and there, shuffle and move stuff around, we should be looking at a nice, integral engine block. Okay, let's talk connecting rods. They are now too short, of course, with the crankshaft axis having been shifted lower down. And so now we are having to elongate them. We cut them, fit some extra material, and weld it all back together. After welding, we, of course, need to put the piston pins back in. After that, we stuff everything into the block, do some checks, and continue the assembly process. So look here, we got the timing chains on there, going from the crankshaft and to the... We actually decided to go with single row chains, because the double rows just take up way too much space. So 2 sprockets, and there's something that we decided we'd better delete. I'm referring to any sort of ancillary gears and what have you. Let's just say there won't be any lubricant going through the block itself. One interesting thing is that we're going to be fitting another sprocket, which is going to be driving the oil pump. We are running a single tube that is going to provide lubrication to the block. But now I suggest we tip it over and have a look at what we got over there. Now this tube is to ensure that the cylinder walls get lubricated. The connecting rods, piston pins. Also for oil to find its way onto the piston to slightly cool it down. The crank itself is sitting on ball bearings, it does not require any oiling. So yeah, the goal was to remove as many parts as we could that might have required lubrication. We've got a single tube that's going to be oiling the rods and the crank. And of course we're going to have to feed oil into the cylinder heads. Yeah, this all sounds much easier than it actually is. But let's carry on. Now the cam is an interesting bit of kit. We've cut it to pieces, with each one corresponding to its own cylinder. Once we've worked out all of the angles and such, we'll lay all of it out in a bed we've prepared and do some welding. We're of course going to be running 2 cams. The angles are all going to be different, this won't be easy to match. But we're going to do our very best to get all of this right. Okay, gentlemen, so at the end of the day, putting together an engine that's as relatively simple as this one, it took us over 5 months. And now we're going to try starting it. We only turned it by hand up until this point. But enough talk, I think we should try starting it. I am very interested to see what we've made here. A lot of thought went into this. Okay, here we go. Hooray, at least something has occurred. It backfired into the carburetor, because we got the ignition timing wrong once again. Hit it. Wait. Looks like we made an air compressor. That would appear to be the case. Why is there air blowing out of the carburetor? We got the timing wrong? Looks like it's working inverted. What did we get wrong? Looks like there's something wrong with the valve timing. Congratulations, we have made a compressor. Yes, indeed. One with 8 cylinders. Congrats! Are we gonna party? Nah. Alright guys, so our first start has revealed that we got something wrong with the valve timing. But no big deal. Teardown time. So after dismantling and examining the valve train, we worked out a couple of things. First of all, our calculations very much seem to be in order, and our valve train should work just fine. The only problem is that they work in an engine that rotates counterclockwise. As for how this could have happened, it doesn't make a difference. It literally doesn't matter. The lobes turn the other direction, but we welded it. Anyway, if the engine turned the other way, this would have worked just fine. That would be about 45 degrees. It has to be right. This just has to be correct. Okay, we're trying this again. Are we ready? Let's go. Stop. I did just hear a pop, but after that, nothing. Okay guys, so we've been trying to get this engine to start for a couple of days now. So much blood, sweat, and tears went into it. This is very nerve-wracking, but in any case, there's a lot of us and just one of it. So we're gonna get it to start no matter what. Let's go! It's actually turning on its own. It's turning under its own power, but it doesn't want to sustain rotation. Wait a second. That was too much. Let her rip. Give it some gas, come on. Did you see that? Finally, the thing started. We were at this for 3 excruciating days. It was fighting back hard, but we won the fight. Hooray. I actually couldn't believe it when we finally got there, but the fact of the matter is we did. Okay, so we got the engine to work, though there is still a ton of fine-tuning to do. But no matter how hard it was fighting back, we still got it to run. We expected this to be much easier and quicker, but in fact the project took 5 months to complete. And as soon as it started, it was a huge relief for everybody. You guys saw it all for yourselves, and that's it for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to catch future experiments. Alright, catch you guys later.